So we are now in chapter 11. And this is called reporting methods. Reporting methods. And we write that these are methods used to prepare. These are methods used to prepare income statements. Methods used to prepare income statements for cost accounting departments. Methods used to prepare income statements for cost accounting department. Rose, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, sir. Thank you.
So we have said that these are methods used to prepare income statements for cost accounting department. First, they are number one, absorption costing method. Number two, marginal costing method. Number three, activity-based costing method. Activity-based costing methods. Activity-based costing method. Yeah, so let's begin with the first one. Absorption costing method. Absorption costing method. Absorption costing method. And we write that this is also known as total cost. This is also known as total costs or full costs or indirect costing method or indirect costing method. This is known as total costs or full costs or indirect costing methods. First up, the method values stocks. The method values stocks using both fixed and variable production costs. Values stocks using both fixed and variable production costs. Using both fixed and variable production costs. First up, it recognizes any over or under absorption. It recognizes any over or under absorption of fixed production overheads. It recognizes any over all other absorption over all other absorption of fixed production overheads. Fixed production overheads. First one. The general format is as follows. The general format is as follows. Format of an absorption costing income statement. We begin with sales. We less opening stock. Production costs. Closing stock. When you get that, you have the cost of sales here. With that now, you have gross profit. Gross profit. Then fixed production overhead costs. We have the absorbed. It's brought here. We have the actual. Then we have overall absorption. Overall under absorption. Now, under absorption should be subtracted. Either one of them. But before we do that, you bring non-production costs. We have the fixed. We have the variable. Based on that now, we have the net profits. Once you finish copying, say my yes. Okay, so we are good. Let's discuss the next method. The next method, marginal costing. Marginal costing. Marginal costing method. Marginal costing method. Marginal costing method. Marginal costing method. And we write that this is also known as contribution. This is also known as contribution. This is also known as contribution or variable costs or variable costs or direct cost method or direct cost method or direct cost method or direct cost method. First up, this method values stocks. This method values stocks. This method values stocks using this method values stocks using variable production costs only. Using variable production costs only. Value stocks using variable production costs only. First up, fixed costs are treated. Fixed production cost. Fixed production cost. Fixed production costs is treated as period cost. Fixed production cost is treated as period cost. It's period cost and written off fully in the income statement of the period and written off fully in the income statement of the period. In the income statement of the period. Person who has just joined, is it Florence?
Yes, it is. Sorry, I am late.
Okay.
I was in a meeting, online meeting that went past time. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay. Are you able to change the name to appear your full name? It's appearing on our head as Zoom user.
Oh, as user. Okay, I will change to Florence.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So you have said that fixed production cost is treated as period cost and written off fully in the income statement of the period. And written off fully in the income statement of the period. Full stop. The format of the income statement is as follows. The format of the income statement is as follows. The format of the income statement is as follows. The format of the income statement is as follows. Format of a marginal costing income statement So that is the format. So once you finish, we go now to a question. So once you finish, let's go to this question of May 2011, question 4. Okay, I believe we have finished. So if we are finished, let's go to this question, May 2014, question 4. May 2014, question number 4. May 2014, question number 4. Question says, PQR Limited is a manufacturer of sports shoes. The company uses a standard costing system. The standard cost per pair of sports shoes is as follows. Direct materials, direct labor 4 hours at 60 per hour. Production overheads 4 hours at 30 per hour. Fixed. Standard production cost, standard selling price. Additional information. During the month of March 2011, production was 10,000 units as planned, but the sales made were 8,000 units. The total fixed production overhead variance during the month was 100,000 adverse. The standard production over. Yes?
Is it May 2014 or 2011?
Sorry, 2011. I'm reading 2011. I wrote 2014, eh? It's 2011. Thank you. 2011, not 2014. 2011. So other costs incurred during the month were, we are given there. So income statement for the month of March using absorption costing and marginal costing. Question 4A. Now, anytime you're dealing with these questions of marginal and absorption, there are two things that you need to establish. One of them is called unit costs. One of them is called unit cost. At unit, we begin with marginal. Now, marginal, we have said it takes variable production costs only. So the variable production costs in this question, we have material of 500. We have labor of 240. We have production overheads, which is variable of 120. So those are the variable production costs. So add them. Add them and give me the figure. Let me get the figure from more than one person's. Yeah, 860. Then we get fixed overhead absorption rate. Now, the fixed overhead absorption rate is the fixed production cost per unit, which we are given 100. Then we come and get the one for absorption. Absorption, you take the 860, you add these 100. The 860, you add the 100. That obviously is 960. So that is the first item that you must always seek to have. The first item that you must always seek to have. The second item that you must seek to have is called the stock schedule. The stock schedule. Now, the stock schedule, we always have details here. And then for the details, under the details, we begin with opening stock. You add production. You less sales. You get the closing stock. You get the closing stock. That's the format. That is the format. So in our case here, According to information one, we are told during the month of March 2011, production was 10,000 units as planned. So production was 10,000 during that month, but sales made were 8,000. So the sales are 8,000. According to information 4, we are told there was no opening stock at the beginning of the month. So if there was no opening stock, then the opening stock there is taken to be 0. And therefore, the closing stock here goes to be 2,000. The closing stock goes to be 2,000. Goes to be 2,000. All right, so now I want us to draw. I want us to draw the income statement. We start with absorption costing. Absorption costing, income statement. So we begin with sales. So sales, it is these 8,000. We can have our figures in thousands. So it is 8 times the selling price. The selling price we are told is 1,500. So multiply 8 by so that is 12,000. So unaandika hapa mwisho. Then you say less opening stock. Now opening stock, it is this 0 times the costs. The marginal cost, the absorption cost is 960. The absorption cost is 960. And that goes to 0. That goes to 0. Then production. Production. Now production, we have 10,000 at 960. This is 9,600. You put it there. Then we have the closing stock. Now the closing stock is 2. So 2 times 960. 2 times 960 is 19. What? 1920. Good. So now subtract this so that you give me a figure we call cost of sales. $7,680. When you subtract from there, the answer you get is called gross profit. The gross profit now fixed production costs. Let's start with the actual. Let's start with the actual. Now the actual is the one that is mentioned by information 6. Now they have not, or information 6 is mentioning others. But information 2, look at information 2. Total fixed production overhead variance during the month was 100,000 adverse. So adverse means we spent more. We spent more. We spent more. And according to information 3, the standard fixed production overhead rate was based on an activity rate of 10,000. So let's first of all get the absorbed. Now the absorbed is supposed to be this 10 times this one, 100. So this means we have 1,000. 1,000. Now, when the question says that it was, or the 10 is the one mentioned at the budget. No, sorry, I'm confusing. But they are the same. This 10 is the, remember the absorbed, the formula for the absorbed. The formula for the absorbed is the OAR, this one, times the actual value of the base. So the actual is the production, please tell me. But it happens to be equal to the one for the budget. So this 10, this one is this one. That's the one you're supposed to use there. Is that okay? Yeah. Now the question says that there was an adverse. Adverse means we spent more. When you talk of adverse cost, it means you spent more cost. So if you spent more, then here we should have, and maybe I can also demonstrate like this, 10 times 100. Now this 10 that I'm using here is now for the budget, plus the 100 adverse, so that you record 1,100. And when you record, you talk of now under absorbed of 100. The difference between this. The under absorbed should be subtracted.
Teacher,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, a verse, we should not taken a verse as a negative value so that we get negative 1100.
The negative is here.
Okay.
This is where we have the negative. Because
Okay.
the adverse is obviously is always a comparison between the actual and the expected or the absorbed. So the difference, the only negative. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Fro, you're asking, is it over or under? Now, this is an under absorption, because you can see the actual is 1100 and we absorbed 1,000. So we absorbed less. So it is an under. But if the absorbed was more here, that's what we would call it over. And you remember when you were in the topic of overheads, I told you that an over absorption is a gain, while an under absorption is a loss. So being a loss, it is supposed to be here. And still explaining further, absorbed is what we have charged to the units or to the products. So what we have charged up here, remember this 960, you see this 960, it includes this 100, the fixed. So what we have charged here in our goods, we have charged 1,000. But we spent 1,100. So as at this point in what we are calling cost of sales, we have not fully charged. And therefore we must do the full charge by coming here and subtracting again. Is that okay, Florence?
Yes, yes, it is.
Good. So now, after doing that, after dealing with that, we now come and bring non-production costs. Non-production costs. Non-production costs. So the non-production costs, we have selling and distribution. Selling and distribution. Selling and distribution. So in the selling and distribution, we have 20% of sales. So first of all, we have the variable. It is 20% of sales. So the sales ni hapa 12,000. So tell me 20% of 12,000. Then we have the fixed. Now the fixed, we are told is 600. There. Then we have the administration. Administration, we don't have the variable, we only have the fixed, 1,000. So based on that, we come here now and get the net profit. Get that? So we have 220. Let's now do the a similar statement now at the marginal. Marginal costing income. Statements. Marginal costing income statement. Marginal costing income statement. So with this one, again, we begin with sales. Sales will be 8 times 1,500. So this just remains as 12,000. Remains as 12,000. You less opening stock. Now the opening stock is still 0 times now we use 860. So that is 0. Then we got production. Now production, it is 10 times 860. So that is 8,600. 8,600. Then you come to closing stock. Now closing stock is 2 times 860. And this should be 1720. So you less this so that we get a figure called cost of sales. $68.80. When you do that, the figure you get is called gross contribution. Gross contribution. So take this, you less this. 5120. Then you less variable non-production costs. And the variable non-production cost that we have here is selling and distribution. Selling and distribution, which is 20% of the 12,000. 20% of the 12,000 is how much? $2,400. 2,400. Yeah. So the figure you get here is called net contribution. Net contribution. $2,720. Then you less fixed costs. Now the fixed cost that we have selling and distribution. Selling and distribution is 600. Then we have administration. Administration is 1,000. So with that now we get net profits. We get net profits. $1,120. That's the profits. Okay, so now when you have done that, there is something we call reconciliation statement. reconciliation statement. Now, in the reconciliation statement, we have details. And in the details, we begin profit per marginal costing. Per marginal costing. Profit per marginal costing. When you get profit per marginal costing, you less difference in opening stock. Then you add difference in closing stock. And that should give you profits per absorption costing. Absorption costing. So the profit per marginal costing, we have 1120. Absorption costing was it 220? Yeah, 220. So you want to explain why the two profits are different. Why the two profits are different. Oh, there's something we forgot. There's something we forgot. Unashangaa. Where we were raising the fixed cost at the marginal. Where we were raising the fixed costs, go there and squeeze production. Production 1100. Where we said less fixed costs, we should have had 3 of them. We should have had 3 of them. So the 1100 and the others. So this profit is not true. It should actually be like that. So adjust and tell me whether the profit is 20. That cost I forgot. Okay, good. The adjusted profit is 20. So this is now what you do when you are reconciling. When we talk of the difference in opening stocks, you look at the amount of opening stock in marginal, it is 0. And the one in absorption, it was 0. So 0, 0, the difference is 0. The difference is 0. Then from there now, you look at the, so here we just put 0. Then you look at the difference in the closing stocks. In marginal, we have 1720. Remind me what we had in absorption. Remind me what we had in absorption. $19.20. Is it 1920 or 2000? The closing stock. The closing stock, I think it was 1920. Rose, you can confirm. $19.20. So the difference between these two is what? The difference between those two is $200. Yes. So you can now see that our statement is reconciling. 20 minus 0 plus 200 goes to 220. Any question? Let us go to June 2013. June 2013. June 2013. Question 3B. June 2013. Question 3B. I believe we are there. The question says that Project Limited manufactures a single product. The standard cost per unit is as follows. Direct materials, direct labor, variable selling costs is 40. Additional information is that the budgeted fixed production overheads per annum amount to 7.2. The normal production level per annum is 2.4 million units. In the month of April 2013, The number of units produced and sold were 240,000 units and 200,000 units respectively. The fixed selling cost per month amounts to shillings 1.5. The selling price per unit is shillings 50. There are no opening inventories required. Income statement for the month of April 2013 using absorption costing, marginal costing. So as I told you, we always begin by getting two things. One is unit costs. One is unit costs. So under the unit costs, we start with marginal. Marginal, we said we go for the variable. So we have the material of 8. We have the labor of 30. And we have the variable selling costs. No. Now, selling cost is not part of production. Selling is not part of production. So that one will not be included. 38. Then we look for the fixed overhead absorption rate. The fixed overhead absorption rate, we are going to get it from information 1 and 2, where we are told that the budget fixed production overheads per annum amount to 7.2 million. So 7.2 million, you divide by the normal production level of 2,400,000. That is how we shall get the OAR, the overhead absorption rate. That is 3. So absorption will be 38 plus 3. That is 41. Then from there now, we have the details. Where we have said we start with the opening stock. You add production. You less things. You get closing stock. Here you have units. So for the opening stock, the question tells us The question tells us that there were, according to information 6, there were no opening stocks. According to information 6, no opening stocks. Then what else are we told? According to information 3, in the month of April, the number of units produced and sold were 240 and 200 respectively. So production was 240,000 and sales was 200,000. So this leaves us with a closing stock of 40,000. It leaves us with a closing stock of 40,000. So if we are okay at that point, we now do the what? We do the absorption costing. Income statement. So as usual, we begin with sales. And our figures, we can work with them being in thousands. So the selling price, according to information 5, is 50. So you take these 200 times 50. $10,000. Then opening stock, we say less opening stock. So opening stock is 0. So it is 0 times, when we are in absorption, where did 50 come from? It came from information 6, no, information 5. Check what information 5 says. Good. So here it is 0 times, we are in absorption, times 41. So that is 0. Then production. Now production is 240 times 41. 98.40. Then closing stock. Closing stock is 40 times 41. $16.40. So now gross profit. Not gross profit. Cost of sales. Umekimbia sana. Tuko kwa cost of sales. Cost of sales, when you subtract $8,200. So this is now when we get the gross profit. $1,800. Then fixed production costs. Fixed production costs. Let's start with the actual. So the actual is mentioned in information now actual is not mentioned. Now, if it is not mentioned, if the actual is not mentioned, you always go with the budget. If the actual is not mentioned, you always go with the budget. So the budget, according to information 1, is 7.2. It is 7,200 for the whole year. And remember here, we are dealing with 1 month. So you must divide this by 12. Because we are dealing with the data for 1 month, you divide the 7,200,000 by 12. Then you tell me what we have. $600. Oh, sorry, hiyo tunaweka hapa kando, somewhere here, so that we compare now with the absorbed. Now, absorbed tulisema, you take this actual production, this one here, 240, you multiply by the OAR, the fixed, this one. So 240 times 3. $720. Now, this is a case of over-absorbed. Over-absorption. So, over-absorption, it is a gain. And therefore, we need to add it. The difference of 120 needs to be added here. because here this 720 iko hapa and therefore we have charged more, so turudishe. Haya. And if these signs zinakusumbua, kama hizi signs zinakusumbua, you can also start with the absorbed. You can as well start with the absorbed here, ulete the actual hapa. But the key thing is the understanding of whether this is over or under. Na kama ni under, you subtract. Kama ni over, you add. Yeah, that's a key thing. Higher. Then from there, we bring non-production costs. Non-production costs. So these non-production costs, we have the selling costs. The selling costs. And the first one is variable. Now this variable, according to the statement up there, the standard card, it is 2 shillings. When you are given per unit, it should always be multiplied by, the number of units sold. The number of units sold. So multiplied by 200. And that gives you 400. That gives you 400. Then you bring the fixed. Now the fixed is according to information 4 per month is 1,500. So we bring it here. And then with that now, we have the net profit. So the net profit is 20. So we are going to stop there for today, but on your own, I would like you to complete the marginal. I would like you to complete the marginal on your own. And if you do the reconciliation, let me see whether I can get another assignment. Another one that you can do on your own. So that when we meet next, we do something else. Yes, this one of May 2015. May 2015, question 3. May 2015, question 3B. May 2015, question 3B. May 2015, question 3B. So you complete this, you reconcile. Then you do May 2015, question 3B. And I keep on telling you the best way to make sure you have understood these things. Hiyo swali yenye tumejibu pamoja, kwanza you try to answer it by yourself. Kifunga kitabu unajaribu, naona. If it works, then you go to the next question. Thank you very much. Good night.